Hello fellow racers. Today we are going to be installing the VRP Gamechanger Pistons on a Sworkz e-buggy. And initial thoughts, I like how these are machined. This is machined, this isn't stamped or anything. You can see all the end mill marks there. I'm assuming this is Delrin plastic, which is very easy to machine. There is a couple of them that have little nubs left over from the machining process. So to remove those, I've just been taking a razor blade and gently scraping across the nub to remove it. You don't want to remove these two here. Those are what seat the rubber, we'll call them rubber flaps, in place. So the instructions say start by putting the thick washer on the shaft. Now it does come with 4 silver washers and 4 gold washers. These are very similar in thickness, but it does look like the silver washers are ever so slightly thicker. So we're going to put that on first. And then put the piston on the shaft, install the rubber rebound valves. They key into place. So next we're going to put on the piston and the little rubber valves key into those nubs that are sticking up. Oh, come on, Butterfingers. Okay, 1. And 2. So these pistons work when you compress the spring or compress the shock. Those valves will be squeezed against the piston and close, forcing the oil to go through the remaining holes. But when the shock is decompressing, those valves are allowed to flex upwards and allow oil to pass through quicker going the other way. So on compression, when you're coming off a jump, the shock will, it'll take a lot more force to compress the shock, whereas once, say you're going into a corner and you're transferring weight to the front of the car, it will allow the oil to pass through the piston quicker and allow that weight transfer to happen faster. So next is to put to gently put the carbon fiber flex valve in place. Now I would argue that this isn't carbon fiber, but it's graphite. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. So that's going to go on over top. Now this has little ears that I'm assuming will act very similar to the rubber valves and will flex as it's being compressed, and those little ears will come down and almost close off the other 4 holes, leaving you with 4 holes, 4 big open holes that the oil can pass through easily. And then when the shock is decompressing, those ears will flex back to their original state there, and it'll allow the oil to pass through more easily. So next they want a rubber washer put in place. It comes with 4 rubber washers. Now I did buy 2 sets of these. These are the medium pack pistons made for a Mugen. It is the bore size for the Mugen is the same as the Sworkz. So you can get different packs. You can get a soft pack or a hard pack, and it's a slightly different design for each, basically a different plate, and maybe a different number of flaps to, if you have really big jumps, you want the hard pack so that it'll take a lot more force to compress the shock, and you won't end up bottoming out your chassis like I do with the stock pistons here. Because my chassis hits the ground pretty much on every jump. But I tune my car so that it transfers weight and it steers nice, and the weight goes to the back of the car when you accelerate. I don't necessarily tune it for jumps. This kind of helps you tune for both. So you can have the best of both worlds. You can have a car that doesn't bottom out over big jumps, but it's still, you can still throw it into a corner and the weight will still transfer how you want it to. So next is the thin washer, which I'm calling the gold one here. I didn't measure these, but from just looking at it, it looks like the gold one is thinner. And then after that, they want you to put the nut in place with Loctite on it. I would be careful not to over tighten this because the piston is plastic and you've got a rubber washer in there that is just going to squish out if you really crank on this. But just tighten it enough with your pliers that that it's snug, and then put Loctite on there so it doesn't come off and you're not, you know, just pulling a piston or just pulling the shaft up and down in the shock and the piston's kind of just flopping around. It could cause damage if this gets pinched in between the shaft coming back up. So make sure you Loctite that so he doesn't come off. And that's it. This is one of them assembled. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more how-to videos.